My sister's birthday was not a long time ago, and I wanted to surprise her with a fan art of Kaeya from Genshin Impact. But I thought it'd be also interesting to show her my process of how I draw using Paint Tool SAI. So sis, if you're watching this, enjoy. So first of all, what I showed you earlier was just looking for a reference, like screen caps or screenshots. Those get me the best photo results. Sometimes I look over Pinterest as well, but I also like to write in my search bar drawing reference, because sometimes I see other artists' fan art and I don't copy it, but I do get it as a reference. So once I'm happy with my reference, I open Paint Tool SAI. So what you're gonna do is press on New on the top left corner, and the little window like this will pop up. In first little section, you want to put a name for your artwork. Please label your art, because I used to just smash my keyboard and save it as that, but then when I come back to something months later, and I want to reference that artwork, I will not be able to find it. Then the next one, obviously width and height. I suggest making it as large as your computer can handle it, because if it's too small, like less than 1,000, you will have very pixelated artwork, and while you draw, your brushes will look very pixelated. But this program in particular can only handle so much, so know your limits. And obviously you can set it to pixels, inches, centimeters, whatever. Next one is printing resolution. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're not printing it. And then background, you can keep it white. I usually do that. And if you look to your left, you can see there's the color wheel and then a bunch of little brush options. Up there, over here, we have a stabilizer, which the bigger the number, the better. And it will help you delay a little bit your lines so they will be more straight. You can zoom in and zoom out with your mouse or your drawing pen on the right. And down there you have the preset sizes. You can obviously change the size yourself, but I like to use presets sometimes. So over here I'm showing you all the different textures of each brush. And like I said, I use specific brush for each steps of the drawing. Whatever fits your art style, you should go with it, but I always suggest making little swatches before you begin. So here we are, stretching out our Kaeya. Here I want to make sure that while you're stretching, keep control holding. So hold control while you're stretching it out, otherwise you will come to realize that your Kaeya is misshapen. Set your reference page as well. Click on view and then press new floating view. That helps you to open another window, and then you open a new view, and that way you have a photo, aka the reference, on one side and your actual working canvas on the other. And now finally to the drawing process. First, what I like to do is draw my line that shows how the figure is situated. So like you see, Kaeya is a little slanted diagonally, so I make a diagonal line, and then I draw out the basic shapes. What I see is his circular head, his like a rectangular body, and then everything else comes in later. I use like a watercolor type of brush, and then I just quickly draw. I don't really focus on details too much, I just want a regular shape. I lower the opacity on the right, and then I get my liner brush and start working on it. Another thing I would like to mention is that I learned to stop using black for my line art. I like to use darker purples, darker blues, darker reds, something like that, because it kind of softens my art. But again, this is very up to you based on your art style. And another thing I suggest doing is while you're inking, well, digitally inking, making the line art, is to vary your thickness of the lines. I like to keep the outer lines more thick and the inner line's thinner for little details. Like you see, the fur on his coat has these little stubbies that I make very thin, and the outside I usually even outline, I'll show you later, to make it thicker, to have it more stand out. And even on the hands, for example, I vary the thickness to show where it's more dark, where the shadows are, and that makes it feel more alive and less flat. And make sure to use on the right, there is a lasso tool below the color wheel, which really helps reshape and reposition the elements. I like to keep the face on one layer, the hair on one layer, the body on one layer, and then the hand on another one. That way, if I make a mistake, I can just easily move a body part and I don't have to stress about redrawing. So yeah, now we go to the coloring layer. Another thing happened that misrecorded something, so sorry about the large square, but this is what we have to deal with. A good tip is to actually paint your whole canvas in one color. Don't paint in white because color theory will mess up your choices. I like to sometimes choose color pick from the reference itself, but it helps to get my own colors to see what I like. As you can see, I don't really use black anymore. Again, dark blues, dark purples, and I don't use pure white. The color of that white is actually off-white, more of a purple, more of a blue-white. And then I just like to add another, I use a couple brushes here. I use the airbrush, I use the special pastel brush, you know, anything. I like to mix it up a little bit, add a lot of highlights, a lot of shadows. I'm skipping over this part a lot because this video was very hard to do, but I hope it kind of makes sense. So basically, this is how it turned out. I want to make a more in-depth tutorial in the future, but I hope this was helpful. Again, happy birthday, happy late birthday to my sister, and I hope this was enjoyable to watch. Very, very quick tutorial. See you next time.